From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, join the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, pick up a book at We Read the Night, and Captain Shirk has the SOR Newswire up and ready for you. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by donating to Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. It's the final Monday of the month, which means, once again, it's time for our favorite badass cryptid hunter, Butch Witkowski and Strange Days. Butch, who's only happy when he's cranky, is back in the field and investigating some of the strangest occurrences that people are reporting to his UFO Cop website. Bigfoot, Dogman, bipedal canines, UFOs, ghosts, you name it, Butch and his team are on it. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Butch Witkowski, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you doing?
Good. I'm hoping you're a little bit more cranky than you were last time you were on the show, because I know when you're cranky, we get some good listenership around here, my friend.
Yeah, I'm cranky.
Perfect. You know, I got to tell you something. Because I always let my listeners know when something weird or strange happens to me. I think I got taken last night. And it was kind of weird. My childhood best friend, like through last elementary school and high school, was there. My dad was there. A former hockey player that I coached like 21 years ago was there. Samantha Mowat, who has been on this show numerous times, was there. It was so strange, man. So strange. What I remember about this, and I'm going to call it a dream, okay? I'm going to call it a dream. And for those who don't know me very well, Butch, I don't remember my dreams. I can't tell you what I dreamt the night before last. Can't tell you what I dreamt last week. I only seem to remember when strange things happen. And that's how I usually know. So last night, the vision I was given, or the dream, was I was at this farmhouse, and there was a 2-lane road right in front of the house, a lake, and then some mountains across the lake. Typical British Columbia type scenery. Mm-hmm. And there was a Canadian F-18 flying by. And I'm a big fan of those. Very, very big fan. Well, this F-18 flies by and disappears. And then I said to my buddy, oh, here comes another one. Except it wasn't an F-18, it was a shiny disc that flew back and forth, and then finally it got really close. And it kind of turned on its side so we could see the undercarriage. And it looked on the undercarriage, it had a big blue stingray painted on the bottom of it. Which is weird, because I told Samantha Mowat about this morning when I woke up. I was so kind of wired by it. I texted her. And she's like, that's strange, because I've been dreaming of stingrays lately. And she was in my dream.
Wow.
Yeah. So was I taken? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
From what you just said, 99% chance, yes. What I call telepathic abductions, where one person's has an abduction sequence that they go through, whether they're awake or asleep, it really doesn't matter. But somebody in that sequence, like it could be a brother or uncle, a friend, an old relative, something like that, and then they contact that person to tell them, and they knew all about it. It's like they were there.
Well,
now,
the funny part about it was, just to cut you off there for a second, when I ended up calling Samantha this morning, and before I had said much to her, she had said that she felt like she had been taken this morning, too, because she recognized the symptoms. So for you saying that, it makes a lot of sense.
But it is very rare. Those are very rare occurrences. You know, most abductions, and I'm just saying the ones that I've investigated, you know, they're after the fact. So, you know, it might be a month, might be a year, might be 30 years before they remember what happened. But the type that you're discussing with, where you dreamt something and somebody else had the same encounter, I would say that there's a 99.9% chance that both were taken at the same time.
Could very well be. It was weird, though, seeing my dad there. Because, and when I talked to Samantha a little bit more, she goes, "Are you sure it was your dad, or was it some sort of hologram that maybe the aliens were projecting over themselves so you felt a little bit more comfortable?" I said, "I have no clue." And we just turned the woo factor up by about 10 with that statement right there.
Well, you've had other experiences, right?
Yes, I have. I'm a little blown away.
Well, multi-experiencers, I mean, they're a lot more common than people think. I mean, you know, people just don't have one abduction scenario and then it goes away and then they never have another one. It's just like, you know, people that see UFOs in the sky. I mean, now I'm not talking about planes or flying buses or birds. I'm talking about real UFOs, something that's very high in the sky, zigzagging across the sky, very short period of time, very fast. If they see one, whether they're alone or with somebody else, they are often the same people that would see them again. Not in the same place or same time, but throughout their life, they'll see them. Now, some people report that, multi-sightings. Some people have that one sighting and then they just drive it out of their head. They could have one land on the front porch. They wouldn't tell you about it. But there are so many weird things going on right now that it's crazy. I mean, UFO sightings, creatures of all friggin' types, flying, crawling, walking, bipedals. I had a guy, it wasn't funny until the guy actually revealed what he was talking about, but I had a guy that emailed me and wanted to talk about a bipedal canine, so I gave my email address. I mean, I gave him my phone number. He gave me a call. We were talking. He's going through this 30, 40-minute oration of, you know, what he saw and what it looked like and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, this guy was like an encyclopedia of bipedals, werewolves, whatever you want to call them. And then he hits me with this. "Now, Butch," he said, "honestly, could you honestly tell me that Lon Chaney is not a werewolf?" I about fell off my friggin' chair. The guy was talking about Lon Chaney. He was thinking Lon Chaney was real. And I'm going like, oh my God. But there are a lot of weird things going on, or weird sightings. There was just a sighting in northeastern Pennsylvania of a very large creature of some type. That was the way it was described, 8 to 10 foot tall, very hairy, very muscular. But the guy only got a side shot of it, and he tried to get a picture, but it just like walked into a bunch of trees. There was no way he could differentiate between the trees and what he was shooting on camera. And that's not unusual right now. I mean, the Bigfoot sightings in Pennsylvania are up. UFO sightings in Pennsylvania are up. Paranormal things in Pennsylvania are up. I mean, it's just like, you know, recovering from what I went through, I haven't been sitting at the desk or in the library for a number of weeks, 18 weeks. So everything was piling up, and I started going through things, getting back into the swing of things, and I'm like, wow. So I've been pretty much plastered in those two places, my office or either in the library looking at reports. And, I mean, things like reptilians, lizard men, Bigfoot, flying creatures, well, the ones in Illinois, they're all over the place. People seeing strange lights in the woods, strange lights in, places where there shouldn't be any lights. And I think the one that, and it just puzzles me to this day, but there are legitimate reports where, there's a very bright light, and then there is there's nothing there, and all of a sudden there's a Bigfoot, or there's a bright flash of light in the woods, either white or blue, and then the Bigfoot disappears. Now, if it was only 1 or 2 or 10 reports, it wouldn't be a whole lot to think about, but there are getting to be over 100 of those reports around, and just not around the country. I mean, that's just not here in Pennsylvania. West Coast, East Coast, Central Pennsylvania, Central United States, Texas, and I first thing everybody says comes to mind right away is, of course, interdimensional. But defining interdimensional is that's kind of hard to do, unless it's like Beam Me Up Scotty or open a door, close a door, which I think is probably closer to interdimensional than anything.
No
a door
kidding.
Opens, a door closes.
Butch, I wanted to get into a couple of topics with you tonight, and
Sure.
One revolves around our Thought of the Dave, where we'll read the audience responses near the end of the show on Twitter and on Facebook. And the other revolves around science versus the experience. That this is a debate that a good friend of this show, William Pullen, and I have been discussing recently, and even though we agree to disagree, I wrote a blog on it this past weekend. So I'll hit you up with the Thought of the Dave today, because I think it is kind of important as per our conversation, because I was actually thinking about you when I created this. And really it's about proving the existence of creatures like Dogman or Bigfoot. What are we missing? What are we missing? What details? Outside of a body, because the body is the easy one.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of things missing. I mean, we have no hair, we have no DNA, we have no burial spots, we have no body, of course, we have no information on do they migrate, the number, how many there are. I heard a guy one time tell me there's like millions of them. I'm like, I don't think there's millions of them, but what part of the government does it play in? Where the stories where there's either a forest fire and the military comes and hauls one out, or somebody finds one wounded or something like that, and of course the military comes in. There's just so many things that come into play with Bigfoot. But when you look at the science versus the reality, scientifically we need a lot of things to prove that it exists. And in reality, I mean, there are thousands of reports every year of Bigfoot sightings. And they're, all over Canada, all over the United States, other countries. There was just a Yeti sighting 2 weeks ago, and in the Himalayas. And there hasn't been one seen in the Himalayas for like 35, 40 years. So I just think that there's something out there. We all know that. It's just like we all knew there was something in the sky. Now we've seen what's in the sky. We've gotten photographs, video, and all that stuff. So we know that's there. That's a real deal. But as far as bipedals and Bigfoot, I really think that the only way we're going to ever get any real, for good information, is going to be, I guess that would be scientific, where we're using thermal imaging cameras or different types of tracking devices. Do you believe in them? Yeah, you got to believe in something. It's just not, you just can't blow off all these reports. That'd be like calling every one of those people a liar. And, granted, there's some of the hoaxers out there, but they usually get caught. But it's very strange. It's like last year at this time, there was pretty much nothing going on. and I mean really nothing. And it just seems like in the last 4.5, 5 months, it's just pure craziness. I mean, Bigfoot's crossing roads, bipedals in campgrounds, UFOs of all shapes and sizes, triangles, tubes. It's crazy. And it's just, I don't know. The reality is there's something out, that's a fact. But, I don't know, science, and, of course, scientists, they don't want to mess with it at all. They don't want to lose their grants. They start talking about Bigfoot and their grant just went out the window. And they don't want to, look like a fool. But thank God there's a lot of us out here that want to look like a fool.
Well, you know what? I thought about this long and hard, Butch, because the easy answer is that we need a body. We need a body in order to confirm or deny the existence of this creature. We can deny all we want. The skeptics can deny that any of this is happening.
Right.
And I still think it's kind of funny because the majority of the skeptics of this have never stepped foot in a forest before. Or a mountain range or anything like that, which I find very curious. But seriously, though, as we move forward here, are we getting closer to the point where we could find that body, if it even exists?
I think if technology keeps going, I think so, yes. And I'll tell you what, now, the use of drones, which were pretty much useless. I mean, we have one, but you're flying over a bunch of trees. You don't see the ground. You just see the treetops. But now that you have the drones that have, the thermal imaging, they can see through those trees, and light radar, which just you can take those trees away and look at the ground. I mean, I think the more that developed, and it's moving along pretty quickly, that's going to help. Hey, even if we find a trail in the middle of nowhere, who put that trail there? And then when you send somebody in there to look, or you get the drone down far enough to look, or you can blow up the photographs and you're seeing 15-inch footprints. Now you got something to trail to look on. There have been more recordings lately, especially up in the Sierras, of howling and screaming that is definitely not wolves or coyotes or anything like that, mountain lion. So I know they've been just sent out to get verified. But some of these things, they'll stand your hair up and while you're sitting in your chair and going like, wow.
Well, it was funny because recently, about a month ago, there was a tape released out of northern Ontario of a creature hooting and howling. And looking at a lot of the responses from people, you could see everything. It was owls, it was deer, it was rabbits, it was cougars, it was everything. And I'm looking at all these people, and I actually went into about 14 or 15 profiles just to see, because my curiosity works that way. And I don't think that out of those 15, 16 profiles I looked for, I don't think half of them had ever seen dirt in their lives because they look like they come from the concrete jungle. All right. I don't think that out of the remainder of the half that they've actually been in the wilderness trying to look for any type of animal, whether it's deer or quail or who knows, even pigs or whatever it may be. Right? I don't think they know how to hike in a forest or be in the wilderness. And when you have people shooting it down who have no clue, that's where I think it gets a little ridiculous.
Well, yeah, you got people that post stuff, and they'll post a video on YouTube or something like that. Here's Bigfoot running through the woods, and you're looking at a deer. And then, it's like you just said, 99% of these people, the closest they ever got to the woods was walking in the local city park. They never saw a bear stand up. A lot of people don't even believe a bear can stand up. A bear can stand up and walk on its hind legs. And, every bit of moss they see hanging from a tree 100 yards out is Bigfoot standing there. Every little noise they hear out in the woods is a Bigfoot knock or a Bigfoot howl. I'm thinking to myself, did these people ever hear about a woodpecker? But it's going to be a capture of some type. It's either going to be thermal imaging or infrared, and I really believe it's going to be either a drone or a camera trap, where there are multiple thermal imaging cameras set up. And once you have that, now you can see exactly what you're dealing with right there. I mean, that'll be proof. But a digital photograph or video or camera phone, that's not gonna prove a thing. But it's getting weird out there, brother. I'll tell you that. It's getting weird.
We only have about 2 minutes.
Coming out of swamps.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, people are seeing creatures of all types coming out of swamps in Louisiana and Mississippi. They're shooting at them and they're disappearing, or they pop up in a tree somewhere, staring down at them. It's crazy. It's just really nuts right now. And you would think, and it usually is in the wintertime, UFO reports go up because you have clear skies, but all the stuff in the woods, nobody's out walking around the woods when it's 20 degrees outside. Well, maybe you would be, but it's
just be later this week.
What's that?
I will be later this week.
Well, it just doesn't happen. Plus, we have hunting season down here now, so nobody wants to walk out there and get shot. I don't care what color clothing you're wearing. They just shoot. They shot 3 in Wisconsin the other day. 3 guys got shot while they were hunting. But I think technology is going to be the only way, and I thought that way for a long time. That's why we invested a lot of money in a lot of technology. But I just don't see it happening where somebody's just going to be walking along and find a body. And one guy said one time when I was listening to him on a show, and he said, look at the elephant graveyards. He said they never found half of those, and most of them were found by mistake. And that's true. So if we're going to find, you always have the people argue, well, with all the highways and byways and roads we have in this country, why doesn't one get hit by a truck? Well, I'm 72 years old. I never got hit by a truck. So, what I'm saying?
Absolutely. My friend, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month. More Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Dogman, bipedal canine talk coming up right after this.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us. Reminder that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. You can do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, since it's almost Black Friday. And, I look forward to those videos. I look forward to this time every year. Every year. Reminds me of what hockey used to be. Black Friday, the new NHL. Anyways, moving on, you can get a new book at We Read the Night. Sign up for the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. The final Monday of the month, we bring in Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com. He's based out of Pennsylvania, and we're talking all things cryptid and nasty tonight. Butch, welcome back to the show.
Glad to be back, believe me.
It only means so much more now, doesn't it?
Sure does.
You got that right. So for people who don't know, earlier this spring, Butch had a massive heart attack, and he got real cranky over that. And now he's cranky back on the radio because that's where we like him. So I'm happy you're back, my friend. I absolutely love you.
What kind of love are we talking about here, bud?
Well, you never know. You never know. I'll leave that to your imagination. However, right before the break, we were talking about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Dogman, and all these creatures. And, the search to try and bring them together. Butch, do you think that the reason why we haven't found a body yet is because we haven't investigated the supernatural side very much when it comes to this? Did you get that, Butch?
I kind of lost you there for a second.
Okay, so my question to you was, do you think that maybe we haven't found a body was because we haven't really delved too heavily into the supernatural side?
Oh, I'm sure of that. I mean, there's so many things that, we think we know, but we all don't really know a lot of things. I was skeptical about the paranormal until I had a couple experiences. Talking with abductees, things I saw in the sky. I mean, it's just, there's so many things that we don't know. But, of course, if you're going to write a book, you're going to know it all. But I just think that keeping an open mind and reading everything you can, look at everything. I mean, even though it may sound squirrely or, you go like, wow, this is nuts. Hey, take it, write it, put it in your head, do something with it. But, it's just like when we investigate, when we're out in the field, a lot of people say, you go out and you look for footprints and you look for this. Well, yeah, that's true. But what we look for mostly is things that shouldn't be there. And that's just a good way of doing investigations. Look for stuff that doesn't belong there. And, or it's out of place, and then take it from there. But, I would agree with that statement wholeheartedly because there is so much that we don't know. I mean, even though abductions, there have been hundreds and hundreds and thousands of them over the years, what do we really know about abductions? Not a whole lot. I mean, the stories are pretty much all the same. Creatures are seen at the edge of the bed, or they wake up in another place, or missing time. They get lost, but then they find themselves in another city or a town. there's just so much to it anymore, and the more that you sit and think about it, and I had a lot of time to sit and think about it, believe me, there's just so many things that I think can be done, but to do it, it's going to cost a small fortune. I mean, just like LADAR, where you can, fly a drone over an area and then you go back to your computer and remove the trees. You know what I mean? You can see the trails. You can see water that you didn't even know existed there. You can see all these things. And so I guess it's coming down to now electronic tracking, where we're going to have to look to see if there is a migration trail. Why do we see them at one part of, like, especially bipedals? We'll start getting reports like that. Well, they ended in around October, which they did before, and they'll pick up again in like April, May, June, throughout the summer. But then you got to think about, well, why is that? Well, in the wintertime, it's all open. You can see through the woods, so you don't really ever see anything. But the after the fall, after the leaves are off the trees, comes. You don't see anything. You just see a lot of trees, empty, bare spots, this, that, and the other thing. But come summer and spring, when everything starts greening up again, then we have the reports of them walking out of the woods, or walking into the woods, or crossing a road, or in farmland, in high corn or grass. And so I think they're a lot smarter than we give them. Bigfoot, what's he? He's the reigning champ of hide and seek. Nobody's ever beat him at that. But I see a lot of stuff picking up in your area, up and around your area, with sightings reports, and that's not only Bigfoot but UFOs, Washington State, Oregon. And especially in the Sierras right now, they're recording all kind of stuff down and through there. And it's some of the stuff you're listening to, some of the sounds that are recorded, it's crazy. I mean, that just the sounds alone make you want to go hide under the truck. But it's been different this year for some reason, and I just can't put my finger on it. Everything is just picking up. And, when you're talking about paranormal or supernatural activity, I mean, it's all connected. I mean, Bigfoot and creatures, UFOs, everything. It's all connected. It's all paranormal in my opinion. That's in my mind. And I've always felt like it. I really thought there's been a connection somewhere. I'm not quite at that point where I think that Bigfoot is actually a UFO alien's pet, but I guess it could be. So
you never know.
No, you don't. There's so much that we know, but then again, when you really sit and think about it, there's so much we have no clue about. And has anybody ever reported seeing a family of Bigfoot? No. Has everybody ever seen a baby Bigfoot, a child, a young Bigfoot? No. They always see the male, well, with the exception of Patty. They always see the big hulking male. Are there old ones? If there are old ones, they sure as hell can't hunt like they did when they were young, so who's taking care of them? Are there family groups? Where do they hide? Do they even need shelter? Don't even know that. I mean, a lot of our research that we're gearing up for now is we're going to be going into a lot of caves in the area of where we've had sightings to see if we can find anything in there. But that's another ball game altogether, because you got to be careful in these caves. Some of these caves are flooded. Some are not too sturdy. But you just got to go with what your thoughts are. I mean, do whatever you can come up with. Think what would, you try to sit there. And we were doing that one time while we were out on one of our excursions, where we were all trying to sit there thinking, if I was a Bigfoot, where would I go? Give me a break. I don't know. I just think, yes, we should do more studies into the supernatural and the paranormal. Look, there have been paranormal investigations where there are UFOs flying overhead. So what's the connection there? You've had UFO sightings where there have been Bigfoot sightings in the same area at the same time. So are they connected? Most likely, but now you got to figure out how to make that connection, and that could be a little tough.
But what if Bigfoot doesn't have the numbers, and that's why it's easy for this creature to hide?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with bipedals. We don't know what the numbers are. We never had any simultaneous sightings. They've always been singular. Now, the thing that bugs me the most with our sightings is that they stay within that Lichen Loop area that we have mapped out, which is 155 miles by 88 miles wide. And we never had a report outside of there. Every report has been inside that loop. So now, we have one of our guys is studying to see what is inside that loop that maybe shouldn't be there. Well, we've come up with an old nuclear plant. We've come up with a bunch of mines, a bunch of caves, a bunch of abandoned towns. But, even if we did this full time where we're out every day driving, and going to these places, it would be years and years and years until we came up with an answer, if we ever found an answer. I think most of this...
But it still comes down to, Butch, what do we need for that answer? I mean, there has been DNA collected that has come back as an unknown species of origin. There has been hair samples. There has been footprints, handprints. There has, we don't know if it's scat from a Sasquatch or just a malnourished or a sickened animal. We don't know, right? So,
and you can't take this stuff to a lab. I mean, there are very few places where you can take samples of anything. When people start talking about DNA, first thing I want to know is, where'd you get the control subject? You say you got DNA, but where's the control subject? What are you trying to compare it to? Look, they just found that a monkey over in Taiwan or Vietnam or something like that they thought has been in non-existence for 30,000 years or something. That would be an unknown whatever. These flying things out in Illinois, what are they? They could be cranes, they could be anything. I mean, there are big birds out there, but I don't know. I think it's going to be something really dumb. Somebody's going to fall over a body, or somebody's going to actually capture it on thermal imaging. I mean, that's what we're hoping to do. I just, it gives you a headache when you start thinking about it after a while. Because there's so many things you'd like to do, and then there's so many things that just you can't do it. It's too restrictive money-wise. I mean, putting up a tower in your research area and having a 24/7 scan going with thermal, infrared, and video. And you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. But like I said before, I had an old researcher tell me one time. He said, if you're looking, you just find the spot where you have the most reports. You sit your ass down and watch. He said, have your cameras set up, do what you got to do, but just sit and watch. Don't stomp through the woods, beating on trees with, logs and all that happy stuff. He said, the only thing you do running through the woods at night is break your nose. So, and when we did that, we've had strange things happen. Wind changing direction on us, not being able to keep a fire lit. Temperature drops, temperature changes. So we've had weird things happen. Extreme, absolute silence in the middle of a game land where there's like every animal known to mankind running around. from coy wolves to 500-pound black bears. I mean, it's nuts. And you don't hear a sound on a full moon. Coyotes, nothing. You don't hear not a sound that night. Those 3 days was recorded. We had recorders out everywhere. Not a sound. Nothing walking through the woods. Not a bird in the sky. Not a chirp. Not a peep. That's bizarre. But 4 weeks before we get there, the park ranger tells us about screams that he's heard, and he's been there for, now 15 years now, 16 years. At that point, he was there for 12 years. He said, I've heard every animal you can think running through these woods, every sound they make. He said, but 4 weeks ago, he said, I heard screaming coming out of the swamp area down there, and he said, I don't know what that was. And he said, I wasn't about to go look. And I'm going like, 4 weeks ago, huh? Well, 4 weeks ago, we had our first bipedal report at that location.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. The fact that when we left there after that first excursion and got in the truck, went down, said goodbye, thanked him for all his thing. My other crew left and we left. And I made a left to get out to the highway. And when I got to the highway, went to turn the steering wheel and make a right-hand turn. My left arm was dead, totally dead. Wouldn't move. Couldn't make it move.
This wasn't a bad case of gout?
No. No. It was just like it wasn't there. And I pulled off the road, reached down, put it in park. My arm was fine. But for that half mile from where I made the turn to where I pulled over, like it wasn't there. And no feeling there whatsoever. At all. Couldn't move it. Couldn't feel it. Just like it didn't even exist. At that same location, we had a group of Boy Scouts where, and I'm sure I told you this story before, where the lady was taking care of some of the Girl Scouts and her husband was taking care of some of the Boy Scouts, and she heard something outside of the tent. She thought it was her husband, and she started, talking to him. Well, there was no answer. Then it kind of walked away. She heard it walk away, and then it came back, and then she heard it messing with the zipper of the thing, and then she got a little scared. Excuse me. And she started yelling for her husband, who heard her, and started running down through. And he got to the tent and said, "What's going on?" She said, "I don't know. Somebody was trying to get in the tent." He said, "There's nobody here." And so he stayed with her a little bit, and then he went back to the kids, and she settled in again, and she went to zip the thing closed, and the caretaker, who was indigenous, walked up and asked her if she was okay. Was there anything wrong? And she told him what happened. And he said, "Well, I'll keep an eye out," and he walked off. So the next morning she was telling the owners of the property, that the caretaker, the Indian caretaker, came down and, was going to watch overnight. And they looked at her and said, "We don't have an Indian caretaker."
That's strange. That is totally
scary.
Strange.
Mm-hmm. Because skinwalkers, they can be whatever they want to be. Anything. They can be anything. And, there's certain ways you can tell, according to the indigenous Cheyenne out in Oklahoma, what a skinwalker would be in disguise. They would have very unkept, greasy-looking, slimy hair, like they didn't wash it for a long time. Clothing would be very disheveled. They would never look you right in the eyes when talking to you. They would be sniffing the air like they had a cold, but their head would move around like they were looking at different directions to sniff. And they're just coming out of nowhere. You could be sitting around a campfire having a bunch of hot dogs, and they'll just walk in and say, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? What are you doing?" And just like that, be gone. And there are many stories of that go way back. And, just like the area you live in, at one time that area was, a few trappers, a few mountain men, and mostly indigenous. Pennsylvania was all indigenous until 1754. So the stories of these individuals, for lack of a better word, Those stories have been around for a long, long, long time. And at first I thought the bipedal canines was what, they might be, but the descriptions were too different. I mean, every report that we have, every one of the 59 reports we have, not one is any different than the other one when it comes to the description of the creature. Not one. Same color, same build, same height, same mannerisms, the whole 9 yards. But skinwalkers, I mean, they could be anything. I mean, the only animal we saw that weekend was we moved a rock to put a table up to mount computers on and cameras, and a salamander crawled out from under the rock. It was the only animal we saw. We were in a state park that has the biggest deer herd in Pennsylvania, and bears. Coy wolves. They run in packs of 12, 15 at a time. Never saw one, never heard one. Never heard anything that weekend. When I play that tape back, I kept one of the tapes, which was the second day we were there. And that was the night that we had a full moon. And I thought, well, I'll capture something. There'll be some kind of noise on there. Nothing. Dead silence. I can play the whole tape. There's nothing there. Not a sound, not a whisper. You can hear the fire crackling.
I'm going to ask you, because we've had it a number of times up here. I don't think there's anything more eerie, as we got about a minute and 10 seconds to go before we go to break. There's nothing more eerie than being in the middle of the forest and the forest is silent. Yep. I agree 100%. When I was a kid, I lived at the base of a mountain, and we used to be in that mountain all the time. You heard everything, birds chirping. You could hear frogs jumping through the leaves. I mean, you could hear everything, deer snorting, stuff running here, running there, all the time. But when you get into these deep, dark, mountainy woods where there's nobody around for miles, and you're sitting there, and all of a sudden you realize that, you don't hear a thing. You don't even hear not a buzz of a bug or an animal moving around or anything like that. And we saw nothing. We heard nothing. And not being able to, we had the fire going roaring all day, and during the next day, fine. But at night, we couldn't keep the fire going. It kept going out. Even when we put accelerant on it kept going out. The wind would change from north to south, east to west. How does that happen? North, south, east, west? And true north, south, east, west, not southeast. No, true north, true south, true east, true west. When I got home, because the weather station that we use is the same one NOAA uses. They're portable. And I called up to Penn State to the weather people up there, and I told them what happened. I sent them a copy of the report, because we can put everything on a thumb drive or a SD card. So I sent him an SD card with all stuff. He said, it happens all the time. He said, unfortunately, it only happens in the Himalayas. And right there, I got to cut you off, my friend, because we're going to go to break at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues on Spaced Out Radio in Hour 2 right after this.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Hey Spaced Out Radio fans, it's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thieme. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SLR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
For the price of one cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you for being with us. I want to remind everyone that you can listen to us on KDNF, AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, Reedsport, Oregon. We are on KDUN, AM 1030. Say hello to everyone at KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. On the digital side, hi Bart Allen fans at Kingdom of Nye Radio and listening on Revolution Radio as well. Don't forget, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Baedeker. Baedeker is your password. Use your password wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, pick up a book at We Read the Night. You can also sign up for the Space Travelers Club. It's $5 a month, and catch up on all the news with Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month. Butch's website, uforcop.com. If you want to check it on out. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
The other question that I had that I mentioned to you earlier on, and this before we get to audience questions here, because I know they're piling up, is this, Butch. There's a big gap between the experiencer and the scientific proof. How do we bring those two together?
Well, I think the biggest shot they took at it was, by using hypnotism, but didn't really work out all that well. I know that there's a researcher in England that is really using a truth serum. I don't know how legal that is. I've never heard of it being used here, but he says he gets a lot more out of that, using that, than he does with hypnotism. And, people talked about putting implants in and different types of electronic devices that they could attach to your head that could bring back memories. But, besides that stuff to me being awful dangerous, I really don't have an answer for that. It's just, some of the stories that you hear from abductees, they just run a shiver right up your spine and make the hair stand on edge. And then, especially the people that got the marks, they've got, chunks taken out of them, or they got scratches or bruises, or they're missing internal organs. So I I guess there's probably something out there, scientific-wise, that could be done, but, man, I ain't that smart. And besides that's when you start messing around with people's heads, that just scares me to death. I mean, what if something goes wrong? I mean, besides you could probably kill somebody, electric shock or whatever. But just like that guy using that truth serum, that's not good stuff. But hey, you take what they say, you document it, you research it, you keep an eye on them. Some people have one abduction experience, and that's it. They never have another one. Then you have other people that, they pretty much have them on a regular basis, and they know when they're going to have them, too. Stuff that's been taken, like implants that were taken out of people, all those implants just mysteriously disappeared. No place to find them anymore. Certain websites that had them on were showing you what they look like, so they're gone. So as much as the government says they don't mess with this anymore, I think they mess with it more now than ever.
Why is that?
Well, there have been on some, I call them black sites, but they're not like the black sites like people know normally. I call them black sites, but there are sites out there where it's just other researchers talking to other researchers, and they're describing or showing pictures of something that they took, maybe a craft not too high above the ground, or some creature, squatting off the side of the road or something like that, and they're good pictures. I mean, you can see exactly what you're looking at. And next thing you know, those pictures are gone, and that person's not on the site anymore, and then it gets quiet for a long time, and then somebody will find something else they'll publish. Or they'll publish something, from government papers that were found, and they disappear all of a sudden. Now, why would anybody just take that stuff off? So the person that's taking it off is the government. I mean, they're the ones that are hiding it. I mean, there are so many projects that the government had concerning UFOs and Bigfoot and other things that it makes you crazy. But when you go to find them, if you didn't save them, if you didn't print them, save them, whatever you do, you'll never find them again because they're not there anymore. And that's always been kind of a gripe with a lot of researchers that, like there was a site on many years ago, I can't even remember the name of the site, but the guy used to publish all the sightings on a weekly basis for the United States and Puerto Rico, I believe. There were thousands of pages. And just one time I went to get on it, and it wasn't there anymore. And, I checked around with a few other researchers to see, what happened. Do you move it to another site or something like that? They said they don't even know where he is. They never heard from him again. So you don't know. A lot of stuff kind of sounds squirrely, like a bad B movie. But sometimes that bad B movie stuff is for real. It's the real deal. And do I think the government has anything to do with Bigfoot? Yep. UFOs? Yep. Paranormal? Yep. Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about that. Why do you think the government knows about Bigfoot?
You got there's just been too many reports over the years where, the injured ones from fire or where they were taken or they were treated by the military and taken away, or loggers up in the Great Northwest, found an injured Bigfoot, and they call the police. Next thing you know, the military rolls in, off it goes. There was a site down in Maryland that was an old prison laundry that was converted, and there was a bust out where something that was in a room busted out of the room. Witnesses to verify that, and then that I think it was the same day fishermen on one side of a creek river, not a river really, but a creek. Seen this thing standing on the other side. Next thing you know, he goes and gets back to his car, goes to report it, and by the time he's on the phone trying to report it, state police are rolling in, military's rolling in. Now, why would that happen? I mean, he didn't even get to talk to anybody. And you got the state police rolling in, and you got the military rolling in, and they're all armed. The one case where some friends of mine who are researchers, Bigfoot researchers, up in central Pennsylvania, they're out in their research area one night, and they're walking down a path, and out of the path comes this guy dressed in full military camo, night vision, M4 rifle, night scope, the whole bit. He just looks at them, and they look at him, and they said, "How you doing?" And he looks at them going like, "Oh, just hunting some bear," and walked off into the other side of the woods. It wasn't bear season. It wasn't any season. It was in the summertime. So what would a guy in full military gear, and I don't mean stuff that you get from your local Army and Navy store. I mean, this was the real deal stuff. I mean, this guy he had the whole 9 yards, the radio, everything. And M4 rifle, the whole bit. Now, what was he doing there? And it was an area, a research area, where they had a number of sightings over the years. So, what was he looking for?
With that, do you think that they have recovered bodies?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
So how would they be able to find the bodies, and yet we have people who have been searching for this creature for years who have never ever come close?
Well, the stories of the fire up there. I forget where it was, Montana or somewhere up in that area. They had a forest fire, and one was found. Some loggers that were leaving that area found one laying alongside the road that was burned up pretty good, but still alive. And they called the local sheriff. Well, the sheriff never showed up, but 2 deuce-and-a-half military guys showed up and a military ambulance, and they got him all sedated and, patched up what they could and put him in an ambulance, and off they went. Why would they do that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
And then, you have the other theories where these things are actually, what one guy called them, super soldiers, that were being developed and got away. But when you think about that, that's not so far off either, because you had, during World War II, Hitler's Wunderwaffen group was not only doing rockets and stuff like that, but they were trying to build super soldiers where they were trying to combine apes with men, DNA-wise. Not to make the man an ape, but to have the man have the super strength and body strength and all that stuff. So I guess that's not too far off. I mean, there's so much that we just don't know. It's crazy. And, when you talk about some of this stuff, people go like, I think you're crazy, But it's like the animals, Russia tried it. Russia tried to make super soldiers with wolves, taking certain DNA from wolves and injecting it into soldiers. Unfortunately, that didn't work out real well. But could it be? Sure, I guess it could be. Is there any proof that you can, latch on to, read, or, not a chance. Not a chance. I mean, look at all the reports of reptilians from all over the country. You got reports of reptilians under Los Angeles, in the swamp areas of Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, East Texas, and Pineys. I mean, So what are these creatures? Some say they look human, but, with shades of reptilian. And some say they look like all reptilian with no shape, no match up with a human being in size or anything like that. Then you have abductees that talk about reptilians. So, it's like trying to play marbles in a dark room. There's just no way, and you can only get so much information. It's either the websites aren't there anymore, or the people that you were dealing with are no longer there, and they were long-time researchers, or they passed on. I often wonder what happens to all these guys who have been doing this stuff for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. What happens to all their reports and their work, what they did in all that time? Gone. Nobody knows where it went.
It is
kind of disheartening, but...
So if the government knows and the government has bodies, and we can assume they are stuffed somewhere in the basement of the Smithsonian or a place like that, why the secret of Bigfoot? Or they're alive. Why the secret? Why not come out and say this creature is real? What's it harming?
Well, it's just like here in Pennsylvania. We had sightings, and the one gentleman that was out hunting, he was up in a tree stand, and one walked up on him and bipedal, and he went after it finally walked away after growling at him for a little bit of 5-10 minutes. He goes to the local game warden, which is right down the road, the office, tells him what he saw, and the first thing out of their mouth is, "Oh, we have big dogs around here." If you would put out by the game commission or park rangers or anything like that, would put anything out like, we got a bipedal werewolf or whatever running around in such and such game park, those people wouldn't even get within 28 miles of that game park. And they'd lose a ton of money. And I mean a ton of money. Because all these parks have campgrounds. They have other boating facilities, fishing facilities, hunting facilities. They'd lose a ton of money. It's just like they say here in Pennsylvania, we don't have any mountain lions. They've been seen a dozen times already over the years. They say, the last one was killed in, I forget what it was, 1889 or something like that, and it's stuffed and it's up in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania Museum. And that's true, it's there. A female was drinking water, was shot by some trappers. But there are reports all the time. And they said, well, why would you get a mountain lion here? Well, they just tracked one not too long ago, a couple of years ago. They tracked one from Colorado, got hit by a car in Maine. It had the tracking device on it. They tracked it all the way across the country. So why wouldn't it be? They said wolves. Yeah, we have wolves in Pennsylvania, not many, but we have coy wolves. They're bred with Canadian gray wolves and coyotes. There's packs of them running around all over Pennsylvania. But talk to the game commission? I don't think so. Talk to the park ranger where we were on our first expedition. The guy goes like, "Oh yeah, they run around here," and he showed me some pictures. Pack of 12, pack of 8. I said, "So that's why you're carrying that gun?" He said, "Oh yeah." He said, "We see them, we shoot them." I said, "Okay." But, they're just as deadly as a wolf. They have a wolf mentality. It's bred into them. You might come face to face with one. There might be 8 or 10 behind you. You don't even see.
And that's the same thing as around here. If you see one wolf, there's a pack of 8 to 10 around you staring at you. You just cannot see them.
Nope. I was hunting one time, and I walked past a coyote. And my buddy said, "Didn't you see the coyote?" I said, "What coyote?" He said, "You walked right past it." I said, "I didn't see any coyote." And I turned around, there he was. Just sitting there right along the trail. I walked right by him. Never saw him. But coy wolves, dangerous. Very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a lot bigger than a coyote. Now, they're not as big as a wolf, but they're bigger than a coyote.
So with Dogman or Sasquatch, is it more environmental that we're not getting the announcement of these creatures? Like, take the tinfoil off for a second and say that the government knows about these, but doesn't want to say anything. Okay, and let's take the tinfoil off and say, okay, there's no super soldier program, or they're not trying to work on something like that. Right. What would be the purpose of covering this creature and not admitting to it?
Well, I'm sure if it was a government, it would be something nefarious. Well, you know, and these guys, I don't know who these people are. Over the years, I've seen some of these websites where, you know, they want to capture a Bigfoot, or they want to capture this or capture that, to train it, to teach it, to learn from it, you know. And I'm going like, okay, so how are you going to do that? But I don't know why they would. Well, why don't they tell you? Well, I guess they have over the years told you UFOs exist. But why would they not tell you something like that exists? What would be the big secret of keeping something like that? They get, you know, the people here in Pennsylvania, the Game Commission here in Pennsylvania, they just disavow anything. It doesn't matter what. I mean, you could drag one in and throw it on their desk, and they'd say, "Nah, that's not what it is. That's a, you know, whatever. That's a big dog." But you know, those guys are out there in the field in these parks. These rangers, they know what's out there. Well, we flat out asked the first one that we met and talked with, and you know, afforded us the permission to stay there for the weekend up on the mountain. You know, I've asked him flat out. I said, "You ever see anything that you think you shouldn't have saw?" He went, "Yeah, many times." I said, "And?" He went, "I go my way, they go their way." I went, "Okay." That's as far as he wanted to go with it.
I remember my buddy Mike up here had pretty much the same instance with a conservation officer. As we got about 30 seconds left, I remember him telling me that when in his conversation with the conservation officer, when he was asked what he was doing and looking for Bigfoot prints, the guy didn't laugh and said, "Look, I can't talk about this stuff. I you know, paraphrasing here, he loves his job a little bit too much than to talk about this." Right. And I don't understand that way of thinking. And Butch, when we come back, we can get into that, because I think that's an important part of what you do, because it's all part of the investigation as well. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens here on Spaced Out Radio, the final Monday of every month. We're going to continue talking about the forests of North America. What is hiding in them? Butch's website, uforcop.com, so make sure you check it on out. We'll be back with more Butch right after this.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother Is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd Psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Past the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us. Want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, we got our free YouTube channel where we store our archives, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. You can also pick up a book at We Read the Night. Join the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. You'll be glad you did. And all the news is provided daily by Captain Shirk. Butch Witkowski is here the final Monday of every month for Strange Days. We're getting into some weird stories now. Butch, welcome back to the show.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
You know, last time you were on, you were kind of gave about a 2.5-hour sermon about your health that we all wanted to hear, because we all out here wanted to make sure you were doing okay after your health scare. So now that you've had another month under your belt and you've started to slowly but surely get back in the trenches of what's going on in the weird and strange, what's crossed your desks that's caught your eye?
I think the biggest thing is the uptake on Bigfoot sightings, and some here in Pennsylvania, but mostly all over the place, everywhere. And usually, you know, if they cross the desk, there's 1 or 2 or 3, you know, maybe in a month, but you know, I'm getting that many in a day. Now, they're not all here in Pennsylvania, but they're in very strange places. I mean, you know, they're not in parks, game lands and stuff like that. Some are in, you know, heavily populated areas. Now, that could be, you know, misidentification, of course, but you don't know. It's just, it's like I said earlier, everything is just weird. I mean, you know, things that you can almost count on like clockwork, like you're going to start getting these reports this time of the year, this time of the year you're going to get these reports, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not like that. I mean, the reports are just coming in on a daily basis, especially the UFO reports. I would say from this time last year till this year, there's probably been about a 30% uptake on reports of UFOs.
Really?
And, yeah, a lot. And not so many orbs as always. There used to be just a lot of orbs, white orbs, red orbs, orange orbs. Now it's crafts of different shapes, tube shape, saucer shaped, rectangular shape, triangles. So I don't know what's up with that. But now is the time of year that we really start looking up, because, you know, our skies are, with the cold weather, it's clear. I mean, like tonight, it's a very starry night out. And, you know, if you have a clear line of sight, like I do at my place here, I mean, I can see, I have a big swath of sky that I can watch. And since I've lived here, I've seen 3. So I just don't know why, because usually, you know, if you see 1 or 2 or 3 in the year, that's a lot. You know, I've seen 3 in a couple months. So, plus all the other reports that are coming in. But I think the last orb report I had was 2 weeks ago. That was in Montgomery County area. Very low, slow moving, very bright white, stopped and then shot straight up into the sky.
Really?
So, those are the ones that we see a lot down here, where you can watch them, across the sky, from horizon to horizon, zigzagging along, and then they'll stop, or they'll make an abrupt turn, or they'll dive down and then come back up, make a big U, and then shoot straight up into the stars till they disappear. I mean, and it's hard to catch them on camera, because even if you have a camera set up, till you get on it, you know what I mean? Get it in your sight, it's gone. They're just so fast. And tonight when I was out earlier, there was I had like 8 satellites in a row that I could count. So when you can see the satellites that clear, then you have a good shot at getting something. But a friend of mine who has a telescope, he has a camera set up to his video cam, and Skycam they call it, and he can let it run 24/7 and then just go back and look at it when he has time. And some of the stuff that he's getting on that, I'm like, wow. But again, that's a very expensive piece of equipment. And, I just think that it is so much information out there on, or reports rather, on orbs. It's just like out of nowhere, they just started really ganging up. There was one report, that was last week, I have one report where the guy saw one orb, and he zeroed in on that with his camera, and then that orb broke into 3 orbs, and then the 3 orbs broke into 5 orbs, and then they went back into the main orb, the first orb he saw one at a time. Now that's bizarre. So I guess there is such a thing as a mothership.
Got some questions from our audience here that we want to get into. Let's start off with Little Mikey Rainbows in the chat room, who is asking, what are these orbs you talk about? Do the colors differ for a reason? Example, blue, yellow, red, just colors of the rainbow?
No, the ones that are seen the most are, are white, bright white. The second most popular color is yellow. Blue we haven't seen for a while. Red, the last one I remember on a red one it was a white orb that a red orb came out of, and they were both side by side for quite a while, and then the red orb just kind of vanished and the white orb continued on its way. So I don't know if there's a reason for the colors, but those colors are the main ones that you see. White is the most dominant, followed by yellow and then red. And red ones seem to always be closer to the ground. In other words, if you're looking at something, at 30,000 feet, and it's white, and there's another color out there, it'll be below that, and it'll be, probably at that 10, 12,000 foot level. So why the different colors, I have no idea, unless, they have some priority or something to do with changing color. But, and then there have been, there was a fireball, well, we called it a fireball, out in Lake Erie area, where it was bright red, fire red, and it turned to orange, turned to yellow, and then it disappeared. But that we have on video.
Interesting. All right, let's get a Hatterack's question in the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website. He says, I do wonder why I have seen nothing when I have spent so much time in the backcountry or just hiking along trails, either by myself, with my family, or friends. What's your thoughts on that, Butch?
Well, our very first bipedal report was a gentleman that was retired. He was retired from the Air Force. He was a combat fighter pilot. Then he went to work for a commercial airline, flew airliners for 15 years. Retired, went to the same hunting spot every year ever since he was a child. And when I say child, he started hunting when he was 7 years old with his father. And not legal, of course. But anyway, he went to the same spot And when he retired, he was walking his two dogs, two Weimaraners, right up through the same path he's walked up through since he was a kid. And never saw anything out of the area or out of the realm of, anything other than deer, occasional skunk, coyote. But this time, bipedal walks right in front, comes out of the woods in front of him, crosses over in front of him, goes up the other side. And he's never been back since. So I don't know that it's, look at all the guys that are out looking. They never see anything. I think these things are always seen by chance or happenstance or accident, that you spot something. Most people, misidentification is a big deal. I mean, people will see a bear standing up and it's Bigfoot. They'll see something run through the woods real fast like a deer and it's a bipedal. So and then your mind, especially with researchers, they're so dead set on finding something, they know what a Bigfoot looks like even though they never saw one. They know how they act, they know how they behave, they know how tall they are, they know the color of the fur and everything. And they're the worst ones for getting those types of reports, misidentification. Because it's already set in their head. Whatever they see is going to be a Bigfoot. And if they've been walking around for 2 days in the woods and they haven't seen anything that they see is going to be a Bigfoot or a bipedal canine or something else. These people with the large birds, they have, cranes and, people have never seen a crane and how big they are. Once they take flight, I mean, they're thinking pterodactyl, or a blue heron. Blue heron's bigger than a crane. When they're standing there, they're 6 foot tall. So when they take off, again, you get these pterodactyl sightings. And they're all year round. They don't really fly south or anything like that. You can find them in the wintertime all over this place. But it is what it is. I mean, if you're going to see one, you'll see one. Just make sure you know what you're looking at.
All right, let's continue with the questions. Robin is asking, more people that go out to find Bigfoot would mean Bigfoot goes away to stay away from the humans to not be seen? Does that sound logical?
Well, look how many reports you have of, Bigfoot hiding behind a tree watching a campground or watching a farm. They don't come out from behind the tree. They watch, or they're squatched down in a bunch of bushes watching. So I guess curious. They could just be curious. There's never been any valid reports of any of them attacking anybody. I mean, there's one that's way back in the 1860s or 1870s out in the Yukon area where one trapper was killed. A couple dogs were tore up pretty bad. And they said they couldn't find any bear tracks. Grizzly would be in that area. And what they did find, though, they looked like large human footprints. But that's as far as that story went. But I've never seen any stories where anybody was beat up, hurt, kidnapped, slaughtered.
I had I never told you this story. During my ghost tour, I had a gentleman actually tell me his Bigfoot story from about 1974. He was 18 years old. Him and his friend went camping near Whistler, British Columbia, at a lake there. And it was about 1:30 in the morning. The two buddies, were sleeping in the tent. And all of a sudden, it was like a forklift. They felt these two giant arms go underneath them, lift the entire tent up with both of them inside. And when the guys started to struggle, the tent collapsed on top of them. This, whatever it was, put them back down and walked away.
Wow.
Yeah. A week later, the other buddy and his dad and brother went back to the camping spot, exact same spot, and about the same time in the middle of the night, the truck and camper start shaking. Now, the old man slept in the cab of the truck, somehow got the door open to the driver's side, hopped out, saw the big creature pushing on the vehicle, and shot it. And they followed a blood trail for a short time, and then it disappeared.
Wow. Well, there have been many stories of people shooting at them, but they always say, like, I guess the one that sticks in my head was a guy had a cabin, hunting cabin, and they're during hunting season, and something was outside messing around with the vehicles, and I guess the one vehicle, the alarm went off. He went out with a 30-06, and he saw what he described as a Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, and he fired 2 rounds, definitely hit it close range, and it just looked at him and walked away. Never made a sound.
See, we've had reports of both Dogman and Bigfoot being shot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And yet these creatures just keep going like nothing happened, Butch. Yep. That's what I find scary. And that's part of the reason why I tend to think there's something a little bit more special about these creatures than just saying it's an animal.
Well, I guess the only thing I would say there is, yeah, that could be, or it could be just some of them, because we have reports of them eating roadkills, and if they're eating, they're flesh and blood. Right?
Well, don't aliens have to feast every now and again?
I couldn't answer that one.
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that, there are reports of people who will describe that they are using high-powered rifles to shoot at these creatures that would take down a grizzly bear with one bullet.
Mm-hmm.
And this Sasquatch or Dogman just doesn't even seem affected by that. It just amazes me.
No, there have been reports like that. There was one in, I believe it was Greene County, Pennsylvania, if I remember right, where a guy went out to feed his, kept a small group of cattle. He went out to feed right before supper, and it was dark. It was wintertime, and when he went out at dark because of bears and stuff in the woods around the farm, this thing came walking out alongside the barnyard, and he opened up on it with a .44 Magnum pistol, 3 rounds, and it just ran off. Never did anything. He couldn't find any blood. Never any. He's sure he hit it. He said, it was like 30 feet away. He couldn't miss, and never made a sound. Just ran off. .44 would have made a big hole. Big hole.
It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we talking about creatures, in your opinion, that are defying the laws of modern-day science, then?
Yes, I think so.
How so?
Well, we have no idea. We all got the descriptions. We know what they're supposed to look like. We know what they look like. But that's all we know. We don't know, do they migrate? Do they hibernate? Do they eat? Do they drink? There are many reports of these things fishing, pulling fish out of lakes and streams. Many reports of deer killed and only certain parts taken. Same thing with bipedal, seen, eating roadkills. Are they a family? Is it a group? Is it a family group type thing? Are there old ones? Are there young ones? Do they need to get out of the snow and rain? Do they hibernate? Do they? There's so many things that normal animals that we're familiar with do, but we can't say they do any of that because we really don't know. But it's one of those things where in your mind you know they could exist or they do exist, and you think you know so much about them, but when it comes down to the bottom line, you don't know squat. Like I said, you know what they look like, areas where they've been seen, descriptions have all been alike, areas of research pretty much stay the same, but we have no idea what we're dealing with. We've had bipedal, never attack anybody that we're aware of. Now we found historical reports and stuff like that, but you have the one we had a couple months back, 3 or 4 months ago, where the 3 couples live in a neighborhood that borders state game land, so there's a walking path there. So these 3 couples, who are all neighbors, always take these walks every now and then down this path. It turns around and they come back. No big deal, about a mile. And they're walking down the path. As they round the corner, there's one standing right outside of the tree line. Descriptions exactly. And that's when they took off. But
don't blame them.
No, not at all. We've had hunters that have been within feet, and 10, 15 feet of these things, and they're carrying a high-powered rifle or a shotgun, and they all have the same thing. Everybody with a weapon that encountered these things all had the same thought in their mind: don't shoot. Now, why is that? What is that, telepathic? They all have the same tune. If I pull this trigger, everything's going to go sour and real bad, real fast. So, what does that mean? If I would have heard that from one person in a report, that would have been strange, yeah. But I've had that in 4 or 5 reports where guys were carrying high-powered weapons and had it zeroed in on them. Hell, the one guy was 15 feet away and had the shotgun pointed at his head. And it was in his head, and it just said, you pull that trigger and things are going to get real bad real fast. And he just backed out of there and got in his truck and took off, and it never took his eyes off him either. And that's another thing. If they see somebody, in every report we have where they kind of meet up, they don't take their eyes off you. In the case of the game warden and his buddy on a walking trail, on a new walking path, the same thing. By the time they saw it, standing in the middle behind them, in the middle of the walking path behind them, till they got back to the truck, it was standing on the hill above the truck. They never heard it move.
Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We only got Butch for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. Then it's the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day, Hour 3 of the mighty SOR, coming up right after this.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SLR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. How you doing, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us, and especially if you're tuned in on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and down in Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Kingdom of Nye Radio. Good to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Baedeker. Baedeker is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault, because Black Friday is coming up. Of course, we got great books at We Read the Night. Join the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, and Captain Shirk has you up to date on the SOR Newswire. For the final time tonight, we introduce Butch Witkowski. He is from UFOcop.com, a great investigation team out of the state of Pennsylvania. Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month, and we're glad to have Butch back. Thank you so much, Mr. Witkowski.
You're quite welcome, sir.
I want to continue with the audience questions here. Let's get to Sparky here, who is asking, Butch, when it comes to Bigfoot or Dogman, is there more activity, or could it be that folks are just becoming more comfortable about talking about their experiences?
I would say some people are becoming more comfortable talking about experiences. And some people are just terrified, and they give you one report and you never hear from them again. But there's quite a number of people that they'll give you a report, and then they'll check back with you every now and then to see if anything in their area has been going on, or anything like that. But I think that kind of goes both ways. You have certain people that they feel comfortable about talking about it because they know what they saw, and that's they're sticking their guns by it. This is what I saw, and that's it. And then you got other people that, that I think that's what I saw, but it could have been something else, but they still relate the story, which is good because, you can't investigate every story, or every report rather, but you can, at least build up, a good file on reports. It really helps a lot when somebody sees, you get a report, say, up in northwestern Pennsylvania, and I can go back to old reports and see if there was anything similar or like that in that area. And there may not be, but sometimes you hit it where, yeah, there was something in that pretty much same area, maybe a few miles up the road or down the road, and you get back to that person, and, it makes them feel good that, now they think that what they saw is what they saw. Because the prior report that I pulled up from somebody else, a number of years earlier, was exactly what they saw. So I always think of those things as good sighting reports.
All right, let's continue on here. Jade is asking, in regards to the giant skeletons that the Smithsonian apparently has hidden in their vaults, could they be perhaps Bigfoot skeletons? Maybe a group of people should get together and try and get this proven or disproven.
Well, first of all, that has been tried. There were a couple groups that went after them regarding the giant skeletons. But it could be. I mean, when you think back, Gigantopithecus was the biggest ape ever known. So these giants could be Bigfoot skeletons, of course. But when they were being turned in, as they were being discovered and turned in, they destroyed a lot of them. I would venture to say that maybe if they have one or two, that's probably all they ever kept. But the rest of them, they destroyed. They just destroyed them. So hopefully, somebody will be smart enough that if they do find another one like that they don't turn it in to the Smithsonian, and they get it taken care of maybe by a research facility of some type. But I'll tell you what, it's a strange thing when you look. There's a lot of pictures out there. That were taken at the time that they were dug up. They're huge. They're huge. So.
All right, let's move on here. Let's head over to the Space Travelers Club. There's a little bit of a story here that I'll read from Haderach and then get your opinion. He says, my dad told me he was up in the hills behind Pocatello one night with his friends. This would have been back in the late 1959 to 61 time frame. The sun had just gone down. They were walking up the hills and saw some lights ahead of them. He said they were multicolored, white, red, what have you. Many lights. They were moving and eventually started coming towards them. The closer they got, the more they became scared. As they got closer, they turned and ran. He looked back, and once the lights were following them, what the heck? What's going on with a situation like that?
Well, there are many unexplained lights all over the country. Brown Mountain, the Marfa lights. Now, we were down at Brown Mountain in North Carolina, and, we witnessed them. We saw them. And they were multicolored, did all kind of things, up, down, in, out, flashed. Don't know what it is. Don't know what they are. They've been studied many times. I got both geological studies from the U.S. government. They basically tell you nothing. They don't know what it is. I believe it's the Marfa lights, where people have driven toward the light, and they'll actually drive under the light. Now, to them, it looks just like a bright white, like an orb. And next thing you know, when they think they should be past it, it's behind them, following them. So those stories there's many stories like that where orbs have followed vehicles on roads and people. In Missouri, there was a case a number of years back where a lady was driving home on a bypass road. You didn't have to be on the big highway. You could run this road on the side to get to her house. And there was a truck behind her, and the truck driver said an orb appeared over the car, picked the car up, and took it over and set it in the field. And disappeared. And
that's scary.
Police had no explanation.
Nothing scary about that.
No, not at all. Lady she said she didn't feel anything. She was driving, and all of a sudden the car just lifted up, and next thing you know, it was put down in the field adjacent to the road, and the truck driver verified everything. He saw the whole thing.
Oh my goodness!
So what's that all about? Strange things, my friend. Strange things.
That's where it gets a little weird, my friend. Gets a little weird. All right, let's continue on here. One more question I have from Hadarok. I just got to pull it up here. Says if they are traveling interdimensionally, I'm assuming he means Bigfoot or aliens, one of the two. Why would they travel as a family? Seems kind of dangerous.
Why would they travel in a family?
As a family.
Oh, as a family. Well, I don't know that. I mean, like I said, nobody's ever seen a family. They always see the same big, tall guy, whether it's bipedal or it's Bigfoot. I mean, nobody has seen little ones or old ones or females or groups. So it just can't be male. I mean, there's got to be a female somewhere if there's little ones. But then again, we don't even know that. We don't know that there's little ones. Then there's a theory that I just heard while I was recuperating that I really didn't dig into yet. But there's a researcher out in, I believe he's in Washington State, northern Washington State, who says the reason we don't find any bodies or anything like that is they eat their dead. I don't know if I buy that one.
Well, there you go. There you go. You said earlier in the show that alien sightings are up and UFO sightings. A lot of the speculation over the last year and a half has been we cannot put aliens and UFOs together anymore. They are two totally different subjects. In your studies with what you have learned from your research through the people who have contacted you, is that the right scenario to separate UFOs from aliens?
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, then you would have to say that everything that's flying up in the sky that we witness is mechanical. It doesn't have a pilot. You would have to say that all abductions are nonsense. That doesn't make sense. I don't see how that could be. Something has to be piloting those things, or the Socorro case with Lonnie Zamora. He witnesses, he sees the thing on the ground, he sees the little grays outside messing around with it, and he sees it take off, and they get there, and there's, the sand is melted in the grass, etc. And it was a sighting. It was a real sighting. So there you had the aliens with the craft. So I'm assuming that there's something flying those crafts. Now, could some of them be, just drones of some sort? Sure, I guess. But one of the things now that's coming about, again, that usually happens about every 3 years, is the interest in the backside of the moon with, alien cities or alien camps on the dark side of the moon. We'll see where that goes. But, there's been so many photographs taken, mostly by the Japanese. You're not there, so you don't know. You're taking their word for it that looks like some kind of alien village or something like that.
What do you think's happening? Do you think that this is just more people because of the UFO hype are staring up in the sky and seeing things?
It could be, but then again, I'm a great believer in we cannot be the only intelligent life in this universe. That just makes no sense to me whatsoever. There has to be other peoples or beings out there somewhere. And the way this country's screwed up, that's probably why they won't land. They probably lock their doors as they fly by.
Can't really stop them. You cannot really stop them.
No.
So where are we all going with this? Looking back at 2019, I realize you've had a lot of time off regarding all of this, but are people being abducted more? Are they having more of those experiences, or is it happening less?
Abductions have fallen off, but now last year, 2018, there was a huge increase, and in 16. Seems like it's every other year. There's a huge increase, and there's the following year is a drop off. And I checked with other researchers that that's all they do, and they found the same thing, that their reports were on the uptake on the off year. So I don't know if there's a reason for that, but like now this year there hasn't been many, but now next year there might be more. And then you would have to throw into that equation that on the odd year they drop, and on the even years they pick up. And why would that be?
You tell me.
I wish I could tell you. I have no idea, but it's been like that. It's been like that for since we've been watching that 8 years, maybe 10 years. It's been like that, where on the even years they pick up, on the odd years they drop down. And I don't know, one guy said, well, it's probably the moon phase. Well, I have no idea what that means, the moon phase. What's moon phase got to do with it? But
I don't know. It's the same as this whole Mercury retrograde crap that I have no idea is going on.
Well, yeah, it's some people come up with stuff that's, you can't even wrap your head around it. You get a headache when you start thinking about it. But it's just like the disclosure thing, Everybody thinks that they're going to disclose this. And they're not going to disclose anything. They disclosed that stuff back in Project Blue Book. I mean, there's 1,354 reports in that book, in that report, that they can't explain. They have no idea what it was or what it was going to be or what happened. And trust me, if they wanted to wipe them all out, those 1,354 wouldn't be there. But and then you have these new groups that are popping up now that they have all these connections to the government, and they got all the answers, but I don't know. They haven't showed me anything yet. Nothing that we didn't already know anyway. Have military aircraft gone after these things in the sky? Sure they have. Have for many, 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 many years. The UFO that was chased by the F-100 Saberjet over in Japan back in the 50s. He chased it clean across the Sea of Japan. He fired at it twice, and then it just left him sitting in the dust. I met that pilot.
No way.
Yeah, lives in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I said, so it really happened? I said, so it really happened? He said, yes, sir, it did.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Do you think when you meet someone like that who has had that type of encounter, especially in the military, do you think that or let me rephrase it. How does that affect anybody who wears a badge or a uniform, like a pilot or a police officer, when that call comes in or when that situation happens?
How does it make them feel?
Like you're a former cop, and right. if that happened on your watch, where you got a call about something strange, you go out there and you have this incredible experience, how would that affect somebody in a professional position, such as a police officer or a firefighter or a fighter pilot or somebody along those lines?
Well, fighter pilot would probably be, told to do this or do that, where a police officer would see what he saw, but he'd never tell anybody about it because, his promotion that he was looking for just went out the window because they think he's crazy. But there have been multiple sightings by police officers. I talked to one state trooper that was at a very bad accident a number of years ago, and there were multiple fatalities, a lot of cars involved, at a bad, really big, large 4-lane highway intersection. So there was a lot of first responders there, fire trucks, ambulances, coroner, state troopers. And the trooper relayed to me, he said, all we saw, and he said, I wasn't the only one, he said, we all saw it. He said, we just saw this bright light coming toward us. We thought it was one of our helicopters coming to light up the scene. He said, it was that bright. He said, what a sunlight is? I said, yeah, I know what they are. And he said, that's what it looked like. And he said, just hovered over us. And he said, everything stopped. He said, we could look around, look at each other. Nobody was moving. Smoke that was coming off one of the cars was there, but there was nothing there. There was a hose being played on it with water, but water looked like it was just frozen in time. And he said, to the best of our knowledge, he said that scenario of just frozen time was about maybe 3 to 4 minutes. And then just as quick as that light came, it's as quick as it left. It just went out like somebody just turned the switch, and everything was back to normal, and we were doing what we were doing. And they got back to the barracks, and of course, people had certain recollections of seeing something and not seeing this or seeing that. Sergeant on duty just said, you just didn't see anything, just forget it, shut up, and just blow it away. I went, okay. And he said, that's what happened. We just never talked about it.
We've only got about a minute and a half left with you tonight, Butch, and I want to say thank you so much once again for coming on. And we got you one more time before the end of 2019, and we turn the page on a new year and a new decade, and you'll definitely be back with us. What's your plans now for the end of the year, my friend?
End of the year, I got a couple places I need to get to. I want to go back to the farm in Lancaster to see if the entities at the barn are still there. I want to check a strange light that we viewed a number of times now, but we can't find it. See if that's still there. We got a cave expedition scheduled for the end of our research area up near Clearfield County, Pennsylvania. So those are the things that are scheduled right now. But if anything happens, we can roll right away.
Very cool, Butch. Thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. Always a pleasure to have you, my friend.
Always a pleasure to be here.
We'll talk to you on December 30th. December 30th,
wow.
My friend. I know, already.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, you can't skip over that one. All right, Butch Witkowski, everybody. UFOcop.com is his website. Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month. Coming up next, we have the SLR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there. You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
at spacedoutradio.com. We have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SLR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always head on over to our YouTube channel. It's free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. You can pick up a new book at We Read the Night. Join the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. And, of course, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. Speaking of the news... The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, and the sometimes oddball, much like this one. So, apparently, aliens smell like farts. Yeah, the writer in Popular Mechanics, Eric Spitznagel, says his 8-year-old is a burgeoning amateur scientist, so keeps up with the latest science a little bit more closely than Dad does. And recently he's been thinking about aliens. So yeah, along with the compounds we already know, like nitrogen, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide, Mars has the same chemical composition of flatulence, which led his son to one inescapable conclusion. If aliens exist, they probably smell like farts. Isn't that nice? I don't know enough about farts, Mars, or aliens, the author goes on to say, to refute him. So he reached out to Clara Souza Silva, molecular astrophysicist at MIT, and she says your son is absolutely correct in his inference. Yeah. Think aliens smell like farts? I don't know. I really don't know. I'll tell you, though, I would not mess with this 82-year-old bodybuilder. Yeah. So, here it goes. An 82-year-old female bodybuilder fought back against a man who broke into her home Thursday night as she was getting ready for bed using her daily workout regimen and various household items to overwhelm her intruder. Willie Murphy, who attends the Maplewood YMCA in Rochester, New York on a daily basis, was getting ready for bed about 11 o'clock when a man started banging on the door asking for an ambulance while declaring, "I'm sick, I'm sick." Murphy called the police and wouldn't let him inside when, she says, it angered the gentleman. She then said, "I heard a loud noise. I'm thinking, what the heck was that? The young man is in my home. He broke the door." The award-winning bodybuilder told the media that she hid under the cover of night, picking up the nearest object as the thief crept through her home. "I picked up the table. I then went to work on him," she says. Yeah, Murphy, by the way, at 82, could deadlift 225 pounds. The table broke. "And when he was down," she added, "I started jumping on him." After the table drop, Murphy grabbed a nearby bottle of shampoo and went to town because, shampoo is dangerous. I grabbed the shampoo, she says. Guess what? He's still on the ground. In his face, all of it, the whole thing. Oh, my goodness. What about the conditioner? Willie, what about the conditioner? She then grabbed a nearby broom and swept the floor with the unknown suspect. She goes, I got the broom. He's pulling the broom. I'm hitting him with the broom. When officers arrived, Murphy said the first responders wanted to take selfies with her, and she even received a hero's welcome when returning to her local YMCA. He picked the wrong house to break into, she concluded. Speaking of thieves, thieves have stolen around 100 pieces of royal jewelry from a world-renowned museum in Dresden, Germany, causing the unimaginable loss. 2 suspects caught on surveillance video were filmed entering the Grunz Jewelry Museum. I know I probably butchered that, and I apologize. It's called the Green Vault in English. After bending back a metal grill and breaking the glass. After targeting the jewelry in a display case, they fled the museum by car, museum officials said during a press conference. We are shocked by the brutality of the burglary. Marion Ackerman, the director of the State Art Collections, the museum said the items were priceless. The collection, located in a former royal palace, was founded in the 18th century by August the Strong, Elector of Saxony, and later King of Poland, to show off objects from the treasury. Police first learned of the heist in one of Europe's largest and most important collections of royal treasures at around 5 a.m. Monday morning and sent 16 patrol cars to search for the thieves, according to the museum. They have not ruled out the involvement of other suspects outside of the area. A burned car was found in the area, and police are investigating if there's a connection to the robbery. Investigators are still on site and cannot say yet if all the pieces were stolen or if some were left behind. They are also investigating a nearby fire that led to a power outage to see if that's a connection as well. 17 objects from the museum are currently on loan to New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art, including one of its best-known pieces, a hat ornament featuring the 41-carat Dresden green diamond. Oh, that's brazen. Brazen! An animal shelter in Canada is looking for the owner of a hero dog who was found protecting orphan kittens last weekend. Pet and Wildlife Rescue in Chatham, Ontario, shared a sweet photo of a stray dog and the 5 kittens she kept warm by cuddling up next to them in the snow. Quote, "Our stray sweetheart is keeping her babies safe at the shelter tonight," the shelter captioned. The stray canine was found on a cold night in Ontario last weekend, wrapped around the orphan kittens to keep them sheltered from the freezing temperatures. A passerby saw the animals and brought the dog and the 5 kittens into the shelter. "It's truly heartwarming," a shelter spokesperson said, explaining that the dog may have saved the kittens' lives. "It has been very cold these days, so the kittens would have had a hard time surviving." Once at the shelter, the sweet bond between the kittens and the dog stayed intact. As the baby felines receive treatment for flea and worm infestations, their protector makes regular visits to check in. Pet and Wildlife Rescue is attempting to find the owners of the dog and the kittens and trying to figure out whether they came from the same owner. The shelter will eventually put them up for adoption if no one comes forward. Of course, everybody would want one of these. I'm a big fan of this. Big fan of that story. Speaking of dogs, a British couple is offering nearly $40,000 a year for a full-time dog sitter to take care of their 2 golden retrievers. The job posting on Silver Swan Search seeks a full-time live-in caretaker for golden retrievers Milo and Oscar at the London home of the canine's owner. The owners wrote that they are both business executives who often traveled internationally for business. The posting said the dog caretaker would also be called upon to perform some housekeeping duties, such as cleaning, occasional laundry, and light cooking. The position, which requires work Monday through Friday and some weekends, pays about $41,000 a year plus room and board. That actually sounds kind of cool. I might do that. Here's a classy story, very classy story, and this professor in Texas at a Texas college needs to be commended. Yeah, she is being applauded online and well-deserved after holding a student's baby while teaching so the pupil could review for an exam. Haley Yates tweeted a photo showing Barbie Hicks, a professor at San Jacinto College, holding baby Ayala, who Yates ended up having to bring to class. After getting off of a 10-hour shift and picking her up, I had to go straight to class 45 minutes late because class starts exactly the time I get off. My professor took her from my hands and taught the class so I would be able to review before our test. I am forever grateful, Yates wrote in a tweet, which went viral. It's really nice of her to grab the baby and help me out just a little bit, Yates said. She just stepped up when someone needed help. Hicks's daughter said her mother, who also teaches match at Angleton, I'm going to assume that's math, at Angleton High School, understands the struggles of balancing education, work, and childcare. She knows what it's like not to have a babysitter in a time of need, Hicks's daughter said. I don't know how she did it, but she managed to make her dreams come true, and now she is trying to make other people's dreams come true as well. Good for you, Professor. Good for you. All right. You may not know the name of Chris Matthews, but you may now. You see, yesterday was the Grey Cup game. That's like the Super Bowl north of the border, Canadian Football League. Chris Matthews is a diehard Winnipeg Blue Bombers fan, and in 2001, he made a bet with his buddies that he wouldn't wear pants until the Bombers won the Grey Cup again. Well, guess what? It was 18 years, but he finally was able to wear pants again. Before the game, he stated, I'm going to a friend's place to a Grey Cup party. It's an annual event at his place with them over my shoulder. Pants, that is. For 18 years, Matthew had to keep a pledge he made not to wear pants until the Bombers won the Grey Cup. Someone asked me how long I'll be wearing the shorts, and I said until the Bombers win the Grey Cup. They were supposed to beat Calgary that Sunday, so I've been in shorts ever since. While Matthew had made an exception for funerals, he won't even put pants on in the wintertime. At first I thought, what kind of an idiot does this? I am, he says. I just going to the freeze everything off. I quite like shorts, he says. I get all kinds of funny looks, and they'll say, why don't you feel the cold? And then there's someone that looks optimistic, but it's usually just a double take. They'll just look and stare and look past. His wife, Darla, shakes her head at her husband. There are times I tempted to say, oh no, I don't even know him, but that's my husband, she said. There have been times when we've been out, and it's really cold, and I'm wearing my fur coat, and you get the stares. He even caught the attention of head coach Mike O'Shea. He's all in you now. Even everyone's got their own little things they got to do. He wouldn't be the only one that would have had their superstitions there, maybe, or their dedication, you know. But Matthew didn't expect the dedication to last this long, with the team last winning a Grey Cup in November 1990. I figure, well, they lost this year. Next year, they'll basically bring the same team back. They're the best team in the league. I never thought it was going to be 18 years. Well, finally, he gets to put pants on again. Final story of the night. Oh, Florida man. Florida man, you never, ever disappoint us. A 20-year-old Florida man who was arrested last Friday after attempting to race a police officer on a highway told authorities that he was just trying to go fast. Connor Michael Prolieka of Tampa was detained by a Clearwater police officer shortly after 2 a.m. on November 22nd, and he's now facing a charge of racing on the highways. The suspect violated his probation. Of course he did. He's Florida man. Linked to charges in Hillsborough County, Prolieka told authorities he had not been aware the other driver was a police officer, according to an arrest affidavit published by the Pinellas County Clerk. The incident took place on Courtney Campbell Causeway, which is a 9.5-mile stretch of road that runs between Tampa and Clearwater. Police did not say if the Clearwater officer had been driving a patrol car or an unmarked vehicle. Details of the suspect's car were also unreleased. The arrest report said Prolieka was observed driving eastbound on the Courtney Campbell Causeway, trying to bait this officer to race him. The defendant then revved his engine and took off, reaching speeds of 124 miles per hour with wanton disregard for other motorists. This officer made contact with Perlica and was advised by the defendant that he was just trying to go fast and didn't know that I was a cop. The arrest was verified by a charge sheet published by the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, which confirmed that the suspect had been accused of violating probation of 2 earlier felony charges, grand theft, and possession of a controlled substance. New bond set, a whopping $250. Well, Florida man, you didn't get away this time, did you? No, you didn't. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because, well, we kind of love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. I love this song. Cuterebra by Bumblefoot. That's the song for the Thought of the Dave, by the way. You can find it on Spotify. You can find our shows on Spotify as well, just to let you know. Just in case you want to play along at home or something along those lines. All right, today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What are we missing in proving the existence of creatures like Dogman and Bigfoot? What do you think? What are you thinking? I want to know. Definitely want to know. All right, let's get to it, shall we? Here we go. Michelle, besides the holy grail of a body, we really need good footage that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt. Poor quality, shaky video just isn't going to cut it anymore. Daryl, Dave, we're not missing anything. They're only... What? They are only to be in our third eye. In our third eye. How do you figure? I sure as hell didn't see them in my third eye when I was looking at 2 of them. I don't get it sometimes. Don't get it. All right. Let's move on. Just breathe. Just breathe a little bit. Gail. Unfortunately, eyewitness testimony does not seem to be enough. I believe it will take a body to prove that they are real. Robin, getting footage always is great when you need to genuine hair samples and stop looking for poop. It always seems to come up to a dead end. Poop always ends in a dead end. Literally. If you want to find tracks of Bigfoot or Dogman, they need to be found as fresh as soon as possible. We need bodies found. Andrew, excellent question, Dave. Maybe you should have a discussion with Ronald Moorhead about this. We already have. Reverend Keith, real simple. A body, living or dead. Brian Bowden, we need to have a physical specimen of both creatures in the hands of trustworthy sources outside of governmental and military influence. Once this is obtained, we can then verify elements and characteristics of said creature through scientific testing and data. Until this happens, what we need to do is stop basing everything on information that is inside the box. This type of thought is limited and limiting any advancements because you have automatically limited the pool from which the hypothesis is from, and ultimately a conclusion can come from. Tony, trusted evidence, Dave. There is none. Even the Bigfoot DNA project was debunked. Got food on my mind right now. Jim, we need a body. Jade, she's all about the bodies. Where are the bodies? We need bodies, damn it, she says. Buddy, we need a body. Scott, guess what? We need a body. Robert, descriptions of details about the creatures that only a privileged few know exist. Nuance is everything. Catherine, well, any real evidence, to be honest, and no, casts of prints are worthless, from faked to misidentified. These prints are too easy to be dismissed. Francesca, a timeline, mapping, latest sightings report, and evidence. More UFO been proven yet cannot be captured. Good evidence of something that is supposedly walks on Earth? Yeah, right. Lexi, evidence. There's not really a good scrap of it. Really, I thought there was some good scraps of that. I really did. Maybe I'm wrong. Probably am. All right, let's go into Twitter here. God of Thunder. Maybe our thinking needs to change. Samples taken are expected to be some new species. When hair samples come back human, it's written off, and Bigfoot is declared a fantasy. Just maybe, in Bigfoot's case, it is a form of human. It may have developed separate from us. Joey, eyewitness accounts? No. Photos and video? No. Nothing less than a physical body or body part will ever be convincing enough. However, I don't care how dangerous it might or might not be. Capturing or killing such a creature just to prove its existence just doesn't seem right. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's strong. That's probably a good place to end it. Thanks, Joe. Strong comment right there. Strong. That's bandana strong right there. All right. Thank you so much to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave today. We're going to do it all again tomorrow. We definitely will. Love your responses on there as well on Twitter and on Facebook. Also, big thanks to Captain Shirk for putting a great news lineup together. Really appreciate that, Captain. Thank you so much. And, of course, Butch Witkowski from UFOcomp.com, who comes in here the final Monday of every month for Strange Days. Butch's website, UFOcomp.com. We got Mr. Ron Bubblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bubblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, in our chat rooms on LGAB, Spreaker, Revolution Radio, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website. That was jam-packed tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. And can't forget our friends on Facebook. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your Monday with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a great night, everybody. Nicole Strickland, Tuesday night. Going to talk some ghosts. And we're going to talk about some breaking Canadian news in the UFO front with Drex from the Shift with Drex right across Canada. See you later. Good night.